Good morning. Hello. Let's go through self-talk. So this is why it's so important. Now, there is some points. There's actually 7 points I want to bring up and talk about. I guess what I'll do is I'll start with actually number 6, which is thoughts, because it'll explain why it's important, right? So our thoughts turn into feelings, turn into actions, right? So if we have thoughts that, or self-talk that is draining our energy, making us feel worried, bad, less than, right? So that's going to create feelings of exactly the same. So if we're using self-talk that is not positive and is mean, like we're listening to our inner mean girl, which I call her my inner mean girl. A lot of us have been listening to her since we were teenagers. And if you haven't recognized when she pops up, you're going to be listening to her, and you may have listened to her for a very long time. So the thoughts or the self-talk puts you down or tells you you're silly or you're useless or you're fat or you're dumb or whatever, right? That affects how you feel. So then your feelings turn into action. So we respond accordingly to those feelings. So if you're having feelings of not feeling good enough, or anxious or angry or worried or sad, or whatever that thing is that's made you feel less confident, less self-worth, whatever, right? Less self-esteem, lowering your self-esteem, and you're lowering your confidence, then your actions will be responding to that too. So you will act in a way that is not, in your best interest and your higher self, right? So that's what I wanted to explain. So thoughts turn into things is what they say. So that's what I want to explain, like the context of why this is important and why self-talk is so important. Because self-talk could be positive, right? Or negative. So it's an affirmation either way. So it's just a question of what you believe. And they say we need like 3 or 4 positive things to beat 1 negative. Because the negatives, they seem to be something that we stick to and hang on to, even if we know they're not quite true, or we have more positives in our life, we will focus on the negatives. So they say that we need more positive things to outweigh the 1 negative thing. So keep that in mind, that if you're choosing that over the positives, stay positive. Look at what you've got in front of you that's true for you, that's actually that you know is a known thing. Don't make it up, right? So that's what I wanted to talk to you. So your self-talk can be empowering or disempowering, and we get to choose. But what happens is often we're not aware. So when I'm talking to clients, I'll listen to their language, and the language gives it away, right? The language, the words that they use, the frames that they're talking about, that all gives it away. I can tell straight away. So number 1, is it actually true? So we've got to learn to question everything. Question whether your self-talk is actually helping you, whether it's actually true if you're saying things about yourself, right? Question everything. Number 2, your words are very powerful. Like I said, we hang on to the negatives, and even if we know there are positives, we'll still go for the negatives, right? We'll believe that thing. So being able to see and hear your words and know that they actually affect how you feel, how you act, right? So they have a very big part in the way that you're showing up in the world. Yeah. So number 3 is I am statements. These are little, you'll see going through the course, you'll see each module, if you like, or each just thing we discuss. Yeah. So I am statements. We use these because the words I am are one of the most, or 2 of the most powerful words in the English dictionary. Did you know that? So I am, because that forms your identity. So if you say I am, unattractive, I am ugly, I am fat, I am stupid, I am not good enough, right? Whatever that is. I'm not good at money. I'm not good at sewing. I'm not a runner. I am an emotional eater. See how that forms your identity, right? So by saying that, your brain goes, oh yeah, okay, because it can't tell the difference between a fact and a lie, right? So you could tell your brain pretty much anything, it will find you the proof. We are designed that way. It's a robot, right? It's a computer. It's looking for fact. If you are looking for things that are going to tell you that you're not good enough, you will find them. You will always find them. If you've followed Brené Brown, right? She's a great author. She says if you are always looking for something that's going to be proving to you you're not good enough in some way, you will find that thing, right? There's always going to be proof. So you can't listen to that. You can't keep looking for that. You can't keep looking for problems, for what's wrong with you, because you will find it, right? We're human, and we're not perfect, and we're not meant to be. So using I am statements in a really powerful, positive way, I am smart, I am organized, I am beautiful, I am capable, I am strong, I am confident, I am good at what I do, I am the best at what I do, I am, see what I'm saying here? So I am statements can be used as often we use them negatively, but if we can change that narrative and make it into a positive, it will change everything, because all the reinforcement that you're giving your brain is positive, and your identity is going to be part of that. So we can change the way you think about yourself. And even if you are not aware, this is a subconscious thing, you may not even be aware that you're using this language, that you are saying these things about you, right? So being really aware and changing that language that we're using will change everything, right? It will turn it on its head, and you will become more aware, because you'll be intentionally using positive language in your world, in your brain, in your life, right? Number 4. So it's all good to know, see all these wonderful things and know that you're not going so great, or you're not feeling so great, or you're doing behaviors you don't like, and you're using words or self-talk that's negative, or you're listening to your mean girl. The point is, what do you want to do instead? What do you want to feel like instead? So if we had one page where we wrote down all the negatives, all the things that you're experiencing that you do not want, and then on the other side, we wrote down all the positive things of what you would prefer instead, what you would like to feel like instead, how you would love to be showing up instead, things you would like to be doing instead for yourself. And then you can see what you would prefer to be doing instead. Because if you don't know where you're heading, it's going to be pretty hard to get there, right? You've got to have a path. You've got to know and be aware of the things that you don't want and the things that you would love more of, right? And it might be if we reframe that to what would you like less of and what would you like more of? Because often we don't even know what we want, right? But we do know what we don't want. That's why it's easy to start with this exercise of recording all the things you don't want, right? Or the things that you've got that you don't want, and then the things that you don't have that you would like, right? Or the things that you prefer. The way that you feel is probably the best way to start. How do you want to feel instead of how you're feeling right now? Yep. So that's number 4. Number 5, choosing your thoughts. So Elizabeth Gilbert, she wrote Eat, Pray, Love, one of my favorite authors, talks about choosing your clothes like you choose your thoughts. Sorry, choosing your thoughts like you choose your clothes, right? That concept. So we get to choose our thoughts. You do have to it is a practice, and you do have to take some time to practice and be aware of the thoughts as they're coming through, right? So it's a practice where, if you've ever heard or read the book Power of Now, which is Eckhart Tolle, that is about being present and seeing the thoughts as they come, and knowing that you're not your thoughts, that you can choose your thoughts, choose what is good for you, what you choose to ignore, what you choose to believe, right? So you have the power to choose the thoughts that you think are helpful and ignore the ones that aren't. Choose the thoughts that you believe to be true and ignore the rest. So you have the power to do that. So that's called choosing your thoughts, right? And it is a practice. It does take time to do that. Number 6, we talked about thoughts turn into things, feelings, and actions, right? So we talked about that earlier. So being aware of your thoughts and then seeing how they transpire. So obviously, if you're feeling more positive, then you're going to be feeling more positive. If you're thinking and using positive language and thinking more positive about yourself, the way you feel about yourself, your feelings will change, and therefore your actions will change. Because you'll respond accordingly. You'll feel a lot happier. You'll feel a lot more peaceful. You'll feel a lot more positive and possibly more confident in going forward in the world. And the last point, which is number 7. So again, it's great to know all these things, but then what do you do about it? So one of the things that we call it a bit better. So if you're starting with down here at the bottom, right? Let's say we've got our positive and happy, amazing, empowered speech and talk and woman up here. And then we've got down here, we're feeling low, exhausted, fatigued, and resentful, angry, whatever, sad. And so our thoughts are quite low, right? They're quite low energy, low vibe, not very positive. So all we want, sometimes if we said, oh, I'm beautiful, and you feel like shit down here, the jump is too great and your brain will go, oh, this is just bullshit. I'm not going to be able to do it. It's too big of a jump, right, to get you there. So what we do is a little bit better, right? We practice a little bit better, a thought that's a little bit better, and then we practice the next thought. So it's another little bit better. So if we pick a thought like, I'm never going to lose this weight, or I'm always going to be like this, or I'm always going to feel unattractive, whatever. I'm not good with, I'm not a good cook, whatever. Let's just say something like that. I'm not a good cook, right? So the next thought could be, well, I actually am not too bad at one or two things, and I'm actually not that, always that bad, or I am actually trying and I am learning. So there's the next thought. So you kind of build up that thought to eventually thinking, well, actually, I can cook. I'm not that bad at cooking, actually. I just said I'm not great at some areas, but maybe I'd like to practice that, and I could get better at that, or maybe I could take a cooking class. So see where you go from absolute shit thought to growing that thought a little bit better, until, even if we can get to the middle. So we're aiming for the middle, right? We're aiming for just basic middle, not over the top, so that your brain goes, well, that's bullshit. And then you have to, have that internal discussion and fight with yourself again about how crap that is and you're never going to get there. So you don't want to outlandishly say, I'm really this or that if it's not true. So it has to be true, because you want to be aligned, you want to be truthful about the situation. So aiming for that middle ground, something neutral. Let's aim for neutral. So not low, not negative, not even lies, all the things we're telling ourselves as stories. Just go for neutral that is believable and that is actually still true, right? It's true. You are going to, you can cook some things and you actually aren't that bad. It's just that maybe you're a bit distracted or you've been a bit busy, right? Or maybe you don't know what to cook anymore, or maybe you need a new recipe book, whatever. So see how that can be turned around and just growing slowly, more positive, more positive, more positive. So that's called a little bit better, right? So that's what the course is about. That's what this booklet is about. We go through these aspects, and yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk to you. There's some other areas of self-talk that's really important as well. There's certainly things that we can do and meditations that can create a bit of a more positive energy, rethink, reframe what we're doing. But I think these 7 tips are still going to make such a massive difference, even if you pick 1 or 2 and you learn how to do that. So choosing your thoughts is really important, being able to see them for what they are and just let them go. I often think of it as washing it over you, right? So you see it come, you don't respond, right? You know it's shit. You hear your inner mean girl on your shoulder giving you a hard time about something, go, not today, bitch. Not today. I'm not available for negative shit today. Same with other people's shit too, right? You're not a negative. You're not up for that today. So I think it's setting boundaries and being realistic about what is true, what is not for you, what is true for you.